What's up, Rockstars? It is finally my pleasure at long last to give you the unboxing of Stars of Akarios. My patrons have been talking about this like it's Gloomhaven in space. Is it that good? I don't know yet. I've not played it. We gotta unbox it first, so let's look at the components and see how great those are. Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell. Now, as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that this channel is possible. If you appreciate the videos I make every single week for you guys, and you can give even $1 a month, there is a link down in the description below. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. Now, let's get to that table, get to unboxing. All right, now, before I even take the plastic off of this, go and take a look at it. Oh. So, you can see, at least when it's shipped, there is some extra space. A lot of times this is the case because of the tokens. And then as you punch those out and put those in, then it stays flat. But we'll check that. It looks like there is a lot more space on there. You can see the edges here. Maybe flip it upside down and maybe you can see that more, maybe not. But there's quite a bit of edge on the side here, where you can see how it kind of pokes out there a lot. So it should lift up good. A lot of times they make those really tight and it's really hard. You can almost pick up the whole box by lifting up the lid. I don't think you'll be able to do that on this one. So there is a minor fail here, and by a fail I mean it's a nitpick thing that I do, is this is right side up, but then when you flip it over, it's right side up. I said that wrong. I apologize. I had flipped it over. It passed the test. It did good. So sometimes this will be upside down, right? They'll put the lid on the wrong way. Nope, looks good. I really like the background of this because it first of all, the logo is kind of like in the sun thing, which I think is kind of cool. It's very kind of framed, if that makes sense. So it's mostly just empty space here where they can put a little bit about that, and then these big component lists. And that's really it. It doesn't try to show you any of these renders or anything like that. It does have game trays in there. So, you know, all the normal legalese stuff there, which is fine. It is heavy, I'll tell you what. I love the color of it, though. And I love this whole scene here because not only do you see like the thing and you see what looks to be like Earth with something weird going on there, but you see how they're like attacking it, right? Which is just very cool. Love the logo down here. Very stylized. Very nice looking. Let's go ahead. Looks like I might even need to cut it. There's a little bit of a tear here in the wrap. The wrap is normal, I would say. It's not extra thick or anything like that. Highly flexible. Just kind of your normal wrap. It's fine. It's like what I mean by normal is I mean like standard. Like it's not. They're not skimping out on it. But it's on some weird extra thick stuff too. Okay, now that we have that off, one thing I'm noticing is the little bit of UV light here, which is pretty cool. Hopefully you can see that. If for whatever reason you can't, it's like right here. It's a little UV spot on there. It makes it a little shiny, a little interesting. One thing, by the way, I guess before I'm completely finished, is the only thing here is the logo of the game and a little tiny bit of the company. Even the designer, Brendan, put his name on the side there, not up front. So it is just art and the logo. Very impactful, I feel. Okay, here you can see why that lift was there. If I take a look here, you can see it's like all extra here. So there's this whole thing here. So let's go and take a look at this. What is, oh, look at this, look at this. So it looks like we got kind of a map here. That's fun. We got the Rathan Empire, and we got Virtus and the Abyss, and a whole lot of unexplored stuff. Maybe future games. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what's going on there? Got that. Got a whole bunch of tokens and standees and stuff like that. We'll take a look at that. First, we're just gonna see what all is in here. Got some padding here. I'm gonna make sure I don't throw this away until I know I don't need it. Sometimes you need that to kind of pad things out, but perhaps not. We got some giant dual layer tray boards here. It looks like we get 2 of them. perhaps more. I guess we'll see. So we got that here. And then you can see kind of the slot for everything here. While we also have kind of a lid thing here. Looks like a kind of a whole tray. So it is a lock-on lid. And how that works, take a look at that, is typically there'll be a little kind of latch in here. I'm actually not seeing it offhand. So let's see where that grip is. It looks like it just angles slightly in on this. So this is slightly angled out. So you kind of have to, it kind of like clips in, if that makes sense. And it's enough to actually hold the whole board there. That's a good locking lid. That is not going anywhere. That is great. And it looks like this is fairly flush with at least this stack here. And probably these cards here. Looks like there's probably a little bit of space there. But otherwise it's holding everything kind of tight in there. Like it wants to tip upside down. It's not enough to really move anything yet. These might be wrapped. I don't think they are. Maybe they are. It looks like some are at least. We'll take a look. So there's that. And yes, they're all wrapped right now. And so we'll see, like you see the space here. We'll see how that handles being tipped over, especially on its side. A lot of people like me store their games vertically. So we'll take a look at that. But it's, I mean, that's heavy. That's all cards. It's like all that is. Okay. A little bit of movement here, but we got some paper. Looks like a whole bunch of copies, which is really nice to see. Just, you know, it doesn't cost a whole lot to include these, by the way. And so I would always ask for these. There's no reason for them to print one and then have you like print them off from online or something like that. Just make a stack. It's not that hard. Okay, then we have these. These are loose, at least for now. These are just kind of gems loose in here. We'll see if there's a storage location. Looks like there's plenty of storage stuff here. Looks like I mean, I'm not going to show these off. We get them like a dime a dozen typically. So they're pretty common there. There's one nick in this bag, but it doesn't like it affected any of the pieces there. One thing you'll always note, let me zoom in. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'll show you something. This is something I notice on these cubes, and something that is typically hidden a bit more on the kind of burst ones as opposed to raw, straight cubes, is you see that little spot there? Hopefully you can see that right there. You see that? There's one on this edge here too. That is where you know, these are printed out just like miniatures or anything else that's plastic, right off of kind of a sprue with a runner that feeds the plastic into this and then fills it up, right? And where they break that off of is that little corner right there. Now, most things, see, there's another one there. When they're not just clear cubes like this, right? Like dice, they'll coat it in paint and then tumble it to kind of buff it out so you don't see that mark on the dice. Sometimes you still will on dice. I know Games Workshop did that on their Necron dice, actually. And a lot of times they still polish these pretty good to where you can't see that. But see, so you can see one here as well. There's one right there. But most of them are actually pretty clear. It happens. It's part of the manufacturing process, especially of these kind of clear cubes where you're not like covering it in paint or anything like that. All right, so one thing I will note is that first of all, it's definitely it reminds me a little bit of Super Fantasy Brawl, where there's just a lot of little containers. Chronicles of Drunagar's like this as well, and they both also use this Game Trays. Game Trays loves these like little tiny things. The other thing I'll say is obviously the minis are pretty loose in here, as you can see, so it will kind of shake around and even potentially kind of wedge in between. See how that's not, there's a lot of space there, and so this mini actually has the possibility of kind of like edging over there. So it keeps them all separate, but they're definitely not held in place. Now I don't like, and this actually looks like it broke off, or actually it looks like it wasn't even glued. That's an easy fix. So, and maybe it's a tight fit on there, it doesn't need a glue. I'll take a look. I don't like the locking in, so they'll have it to where these lids are tight on there, like really tight. So that's definitely not going anywhere. So they can make it to where there's a little dimple in here that like moves out to kind of snap this in there. I don't like that because it'll rub the rim of there and you can't ever really paint it. But normally the alternative is to put a little dimple in there where this divots in right, to where it's flat. And part of this is just the fact that the lid is so much taller, like even than these. I don't know if it supports sleeves, if that's like to support the, because you see how the decks are like really in there, right? I mean, it can fall too. There's a lot of space there. And I'm wondering if that's to support sleeves. But that means without sleeves, there's just a whole lot of extra wiggle room there. They did include a silica packet, so you shouldn't be seeing a whole lot of mold or anything like that. Guys, this is not difficult to put in this. If you're building a giant piece of paper, which is essentially what all this cardboard is, and you're going to want to ship it over the ocean from China to whatever other continent you're doing, throw a silica packet or two in there. Again, it doesn't cost a whole lot, and it definitely is better than getting mildew and mold inside of your cardboard box because you didn't want to do that. So it reduces the chances of that. Nothing's 100%. But by a lot. I've seen some companies just get devastated by that, and it's a very simple thing. Also, don't throw this away. It says throw away, don't eat. Don't. Keep it in there. In fact, put extra in there if you want. I actually keep all of these in my board games anytime they come in there, and I'm tempted to actually buy some and put them in there. Why not? It costs you nothing. It keeps it in there. It makes it nice and dry, especially if you live in a humid place. If you guys are in Florida and stuff like that, put some silica packets in your board games. It'll help out a ton, I think. This is nice. I mean, these looks great, and this is like really flat, but again, there's a lot of extra space on those cards. So it's kind of interesting to see that. Hopefully I'll remember how all this goes back in. And we got more paper here. Look at this. Even more. So we got a ton. A ton of paper here, which again is great to see. Let's see, we got the game board. Okay, and then on the back, looks like we got the manual inside of that. That's interesting. Okay, we'll take a look at that. We got some more padding. Again, I'm going to keep this in case I need it. Oh man, this is nice. So there was a little bit of shifting because these are all small and moving around a little bit. You'll see little tiny ding marks. Maybe I'll do that. It's nothing major, but you'll be able to see them a little bit. There you go. You can kind of see them there. So like right there and right there and right there, just a little tiny where it was kind of moving around, right? Okay, and then there's some kind of dust on here too. It's probably, the paper was on there, it's probably from the paper, probably from the cut on the paper, and then they stick it in there. It's just a little bit of dust, or it was maybe moving around or something. Not too bad, but a little dusty in there. Okay, we got a big old scenario book. Look at that. That is fun. Ring bound. We'll take a look. We'll look at it. You guys know. We got some minis at the bottom, some extra spaces for stuff. I don't know. I actually would really prefer if these were labeled. I really do enjoy that. Like even this, right? Like put a number on the bottom if nothing else, and then a number on there. It'd be nice just to know, because they're such generic. When they're out like this, right? It's like, okay, what goes there? Well, I could put him in there probably, right? And so it's like, oh, does he go in there? Oh no, he goes in here. He goes there. That being said, it looks like they're almost the same, so you could probably just swap them. So maybe it doesn't even really matter. I don't know. To me, I want to put everything in its assigned spot, and maybe that doesn't make sense here. Got some trays to hold the standees with little arrows, and some are black, some are yellow. So that's very nice. Like, these are very firm. Those are nice. We got some custom dice. Really appreciate the custom dice. Nice and colorful too, and oh, you know what? Okay, well, we'll take a look at them in a second. I have something to say about this actually. We got some dual layer again, a whole bunch of these boards here. Looks great, by the way. We'll take a look at that, and then more stacks of cards, and then more minis, and I think that is it. There's even like a mini like loose here. Look at that. It's like so loose in there. Okay. All right. The only thing tight in this thing, I think, is the lid. The lids are very tight. Okay. Gosh, there's a lot to go over here. I'm not going to show these again. I've already shown them, and you guys have seen them a dime a dozen. Wow, that's loud. We're going to start low and actually go high, I think, here, just to kind of get through everything. And then, well, I mean, no, maybe we'll go through the big stuff first. We'll save the minis for last, because I tend to spend a lot of time on those, and you guys probably don't want to see all that. But I have something to say about the dice. So let's start with dice. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Oh, maybe probably too much. Okay, right there. That looks great. Look at that. You got the logo right there. Oh, man. This is like expert level framing. I should do this. I should work with Spielberg on this. This is great. Okay. Let's go ahead and take some of these out. I'm going to take them all out. We're going to take them all out. Why not? Okay. So, a few things here. First of all, notice that this die is larger. I think that's really cool, and it's actually a different kind of die. Let me kind of explain that a little bit. I think we are probably going to zoom in a little. I'll zoom in slightly. I'm going to ruin that shot. And we'll hold it up like this. Okay, so looking at this, first of all, the paint is pretty good. I actually think it's quite nice. There's a little bit, right, where it's not quite painted in all the way there. You can see a little bit of the white there. Black on white, and this is an off-white, by the way, which I actually appreciate. It's not some stark white thing. It's kind of an eggshell maybe or something. I don't know. You white experts maybe can tell me that. I don't know. A lot of times, like, you don't want to add too many paint coats in here, or it looks sloppy, right? But every now and then there's a little bit of, you can see there's a little bit of there. That being said, it's inlaid, and so it's not going to really scruff up too much. The sides are painted fairly well. You know, there's a little bit of extra there, but not too bad. For the most part, you can see the letters, and they look nice and crisp. It's only when you look really close, and maybe that's what we need to do, is look really close. You can see on the side here, it kind of comes up but slightly right there, right? Or like on the two on the top right there, there's a little bit, right? And I understand that this is, you know, very, very different. Also, if you notice, writes it up, writes it up, writes it up. What happened with the 4? Why is it that way? I don't know. It's like 1, 4, 6. So I guess they're, I don't know. It just seems weird. Maybe it's like a Rubik's Cube and I just don't understand it. For these, it looks like there's a little bit of dust on these as well. So you actually kind of have to, you know what? Okay, so this is interesting. I don't know necessarily if it's on purpose or not. We're going to kind of zoom up here again. Do you see how it's not a solid black? You see how, like, when they poured it in, there's these, and hopefully you can see that. It almost looks like it's marbled, right? But I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's just how it injected this is kind of odd. The painting on this is also, I feel, a little bit worse. You can see how the paint went over on this. It's obviously more complex than just the giant shape here. But they actually did the pips pretty good, right? Where they just did a little dot. But then in this, you can see it's a little fuzzy there where the paint went over, right? And then again on the sides here, the paint went over probably a little bit right there, for instance. The paint's a little kind of sloppy here even. So I actually didn't do these quite as well. Same here, there's a little bit of black spots here where you can kind of, you know, see where that messed up as well. Let's get another random one. Let's pick this one. And really it's the same story here with the paint job. You can see it didn't really change anything there when it comes to the crispness of these kind of custom shapes. Not quite there. This side's actually a little bit better. But then this one, they struggle right there with that little black line there by the looks of it. It's still, I mean, it looks great from a distance, but when you look it up close, it is a little weird. That's not quite as crisp as this, I feel. Now, talking about the dice, I actually prefer dice like this shape-wise. So you see how it's a lot more straight edge? It's not nearly as rounded in the corners. A lot of times you get those Chiswick dice that are really rounded in the corners. One of the benefits of that is it rolls a whole lot, right? Because it's really easy to kind of roll, and that's a lot of fun. Whereas these tend to shuffle or randomize in your hand, and then when you do that, they roll 2, maybe 3 times, and then they just kind of land on a spot, and that's it. They don't keep rolling. These are technically, normally, more accurate dice. Now, not when you do a bunch of custom stuff like this, right? And most board game dice are not accurate at all. But when you see, like, casino dice, right? When, like, big money's involved, and they will have perfectly crisp edges. There won't be any rounding. See, there's still a little bit of rounding here, right? And you won't even see that. It'll just be cut corners. And that's exactly for that. So there's no, because when you do that, it's not going to be exact. Each angle is going to be a little bit off, but you can do 90 degrees. Really solid, right? So it keeps it to where each face has the equal amount of value on there. And they'll weight the pips and all that other kind of stuff, right? But anyway, that's probably more than any of you wanted in dice, but whatever. So, I love the colors, by the way. I really do like that. The orange is fairly light. I would have liked it maybe slightly more red, just so it's a little bit more distinguished from the yellow. But it's still doable for me anyway, seeing them next to each other, you know, like this, right? You can still kind of see the difference there for sure. It's more when you see it on its own. And one thing to note in this entire unboxing is I have a ton of light pointed to this. and an expensive camera pointing at it, right? You're not going to have that when you're playing the game. You're just going to play the game in some poorly lit room. We're going to stick a standee in here later, so I'll look at those later, see how tight it is there. Take a look at these. Alright. So, in this, it looks like, oh, look at that. Got a little bit of a tag there, not too much. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. The back looks pretty good. There is a little bit of fraying there, you can see. And actually, as I do that, yep, okay. So, this happens sometimes. I don't know exactly what causes this to happen on some and not others. But, you see how like that looks really nice and crisp there, you know, for the most part? But as you play the game, you'll kind of rub against it a little bit. And what that can do is introduce this kind of white line that comes around the edge there. I don't know if it's just not like perfectly clean cut, if there's a little bit extra or what. I think that's what it is. I think it's a little bit extra that's then folding back the other way more than it actually separating, but you'll get that. So as you play the game, as you enjoy the game and love it, expect that to kind of appear on a lot of different stuff as you kind of get that little bit of a white line there. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about there. Just that little bit where it's not quite as crisp as it kind of flakes off a little bit. So that can happen. Normally it only happens in the back, by the way, because it's a sharp angle, because it like presses down, so this bends in a little bit. And so on this you won't really see that because it kind of smooths out, but on the back it's just nice and crisp there. This looks good. I really do like that. I like the gradient effect here. That's kind of neat in between. Symbols look really good, very clearly written here. A little small perhaps, but nice and crisp on the contrast. These all look fairly centered. I'm not really seeing anything that stands out to me. That can be kind of hard when, even if you glue them accurately, just to print it perfectly to where the 30's centered and not slightly to the left or something like that. This looks perfect though. This looks like I have no qualms about that. Like this circle might slightly be in the lower left, perhaps, but it's close. It's not too bad. And again, these numbers I think look great. This is nice. I like that it's rounded here. That looks good, and then it's open there. So a lot of times people will close it and then you fit it in there, but then you gotta like tip it over to like get it out. Looks like you just slide it right out there, which looks good. You get tons of them. The sides of it, by the way, look fairly good. It looks maybe slightly bent. I'll check that in a moment. You can certainly see the layers. So definitely not the like highest premium cardboard I have seen. Hopefully you can see the layers here. There you go. You can kind of see that. That's it. The different sections and the sections within sections. But I'm not really seeing a lot of fray there. There's definitely some. It's not like it's coated or anything. And there's a few little tags there as well. Nothing major. But it is fairly bendy, especially for a dual layer. So what we can do here is we'll just simply do that. Yep, definitely bent. So you see how when I hold these, when I flipped it, right, so they're all actually slightly curved that way. So when I flip it, it then starts curving that way. So that right there shows the bend. All right, we can probably do that on another one. Here, let's take it in half. We'll flip this one. And now that should be bent inward instead of outward. And sure enough, there's a little gap right here in the middle now too, where it's kind of curved that way. So they are bent. I mean, you don't really notice it. It's not like it's popping up or anything like that on there. And maybe they'll straighten out in time. In my experience, they typically warp in time, not straighten out. So, you know, if it warrants an update, I'll of course update you guys. But I don't suspect it will. And part of that I think is just from how airy those layers are, how they're not quite as compressed as hard as you could. You can get those compressed enough to where it almost feels like straight wood. And that isn't quite there. And so with that, I think it introduces a little bit more moisture, a little bit more ability to kind of flex, if that makes sense. Okay, so we got these. It was an easy thing to open for sure. Ooh, look at the back here. That's fun. So these are like little exploration map tiles by the looks of it here. Oh, that looks so pretty. Hopefully they make kind of a cool picture when all's said and done too, which is super neat to see that done in space. We have what looks to be a kind of a rules reference card. One thing I can say is I think these are actually quite high quality. They feel really great for the size, right? When you get them, especially long like this or whatever, like normally there's a lot of flex. I'm not getting a lot of flex here. It feels quite solid. It's a good thickness. The edges are nice and crisp. I don't feel any feathering or fraying or anything like that. The contrast, again, really, really nice. This is almost looks like it's bolded, which is great to see. All the different symbols and, you know, what they are. And then a little page reference number 2, which is kind of nice to see. A little bit of a small text fitting everything on here, but nothing actually too bad. I've seen far worse, that's for sure. And again, these look really, really good. Like, I really like these. The coloration looks great. It looks nice and consistent too. All right, let's see how badly it's bent. And again, that could certainly happen. Look, they're like separated and organized there, which seems nice as well too. Let's go ahead and flip those and see if we can't see. Yep, a little bit of a bend there, right? So it's not quite crisp, but honestly, again, same thing. And actually, I'm glad. I've done that before and it wasn't. And then I was like, I have no idea how many cards I just flipped over, so they're going to be backwards or whatever. They're laying flat on here, which is nice. So I'm happy with that. Okay, there's the cards. Again, they go in here, just because I remember. And then these go in here. Okay, and we will look at the minis at the end. So let's move all of this out of the way and take a look at the big boards. The big boys. Let's take a look. All right, this one, easy open, which I appreciate. It's always nice. I don't have to try and cut things and accidentally nick it or something like that. Okay, and yep, I was right. So it looked like 2 because they were like dual layer and back to back, but then I saw like these little gaps here. I'm like, oh, I bet there's actually 4 of them. Probably all the same, I would think. Just kind of stored that way, which is fine. The back of it, by the way, I actually really like. I know it's plain, but I really like just how simple it looks. It looks very nice. Okay. So, again, I think they're actually fairly straight, especially for the size. Yeah, they're sitting just fine. And part of that might have been because they were inverted in between each other. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. Take a look at this one. You get 4 of them, 1 for each player. They're certainly big, right? So they're taking up a lot of space. I suspect this will take up quite a bit of table space when all is said and done. Looks like you have your ship here, your pilot, a little thingy here. You can do the different little stats here. It looks like some reference, I think is what this is. Basic actions, yes. And it's all symbol-based, so you will have to learn these symbols. Hopefully they're pretty self-explanatory, but it is kind of like learning a new language. They do have stealth, stun, slow. This is fairly small, in my opinion. It would have been nice to somehow make that text a little bit bigger. Maybe even just bolded it like the other stuff that seems more bolded. This seems not. But it does have the symbols there as well, though you might cover it up. I don't know. Your weapons, different tech, a ship ability, a pilot ability, your engine, and then a whole lot of different dice. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It is kind of interesting to number them based off the amount of dice. I'm sure that makes sense in the game, but you could have also done 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's kind of interesting to do that with dice. I suspect that'll be fairly obvious, so it looks like it's very easy to see which is which. So that's nice as well too. And overall, looks pretty good. Same cardboard quality as the other thing. You know, it almost seems maybe slightly better, actually. And again, I'm not seeing a lot of flex for how big this is. I'm quite happy with that. Passes the test. Good job. All right, we'll move that over there. Let's take a look. This will be fun. At the scenario book. Now, obviously, I don't want to do too many spoilers or anything like that, so we're gonna walk carefully here. All right, we're just gonna be respectful and considerate and try our best not to spoil ourselves or you. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, come on now. Come on now. That was probably the worst place to start it, but whatever. All right, so let's go ahead. Open that up. Okay, looks like it survived quite good, which is good. Sometimes you'll get like bent pages and stuff like that, but this looks great. Okay, so first test is to actually fold it all the way over. Exactly what the spiral allows you to do. Looks like that worked great. It definitely did that, I think, pretty well. There's that little bit of a gap here, right, where they have this this little bit there. That's pretty normal. Zoom out slightly. There we go. But yeah, it looks good. And it looks like now, and this, inside this book, is where they show you kind of how to lay out everything. So I'm glad they had that. A little welcome. That's nice too. Learn to play with a QR code. Very nice. Hopefully that goes to, I'm assuming actually like like a video showing it. Pages seem quite nice and thick. Actually, that looks like that works well. And we got a training mission, a whole bunch to read here when it comes to story. And then again, a whole bunch of learn to play stuff. And it even says what each one is. Objective special rules. These call out boxes are very well done. I like the color. I like the border. I like the special title and the shape of it all. That works really well. This looks like it's very easy to read. I'll check on the map. Hopefully that A is on the map too. I'm assuming that's the center tile. And so you can kind of gauge everything off that 2 to the, you know, northeast there or something like that to kind of help judge it. Osworn did the same thing. Worked out quite well. The rewards, conclusions, all that stuff. And then you have the first mission. And again, kind of the same thing. Actually, less story compared because it's not starting out, right? And then you have, I don't even know. It looks like the third one just starts here. So it's like 1, 2, 3, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know how they're judging that stuff there. But we'll go one more page in. Just kind of see. Looks like it's all pretty much just a whole bunch of that. So what I'm going to do, by the way, this art looks fantastic. Really do love it. Is off camera. I'm going to take a look here. Sure don't spoil anything. And just to see if there's anything worth noting. I guess, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all there is really to show there. There's some choices where you get to like pick and choose different things and read different things based off that normal narrative, choose your own adventure style design there. Looks good. All right, let's separate this because this has a rule book. It's probably the longest I've ever not read a rule book in one of these unboxings. And that's probably, I would think, because of the fact that it's wrapped inside of the keyboard, which definitely keeps it from flailing around there. But again, will that be the case after I unbox it? Did that save it from shipping but not from storage? Or will this work for both? That is the key to see, right? But let's go ahead and take a look at the rulebook. Okay. Got the rulebook here. It's a good size. I like this. It won't take up too much space when it's opened up on the table, which I like. I appreciate that. Sometimes they're really wide. There actually is a little bit of a bend here, ironically enough, because of just how it was laid in there and wrapped. Let's see. Component quality, all that looks good. I like the picture with the name and seeing it and all that stuff. Hey, go. 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 All right, we got a table of contents here. Do we have an index? It looks like it on page 39, according to the table of contents. Let's see if that's the last page. Is it easy to get to? Yes, it is. Okay, so looking at the index. Okay, separates the letters very easily. Multiple pages listed. All of that is good. All of that is positive. I do appreciate that very much. That looks good. I don't see any sub things where sometimes it's like actions and then it lists that under there. I appreciate that as well. It's easier to look up if you just list everything separately. And at the end of the day, this is a lookup table. So I do like that. That looks good. Looks like on the back, you have kind of a glossary of different things you might need to define real quick. That's nice too. Rulebook questions and community with a QR code. That's nice. I like seeing that. Looks like they have some big examples. That's good to see as well. A lot of pictures and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of call out boxes and whatnot. And this looks good as far as I can tell. You know, again, I'll read it and let you guys know. But so far, so good. Let's take a look at that map. So first off, you can see the wrapping here where the glue was. So it kind of wraps over and then overlays on top of it. And then they have this separate piece right here. Hopefully you can see that. Here, I'll kind of zoom really into it, let you see. So that's the wrapping here. And then the actual picture is right here. Do you see the difference there? How that's just kind of laid on top to glue it all over. That's the glue job there. It looks good. The coloration seems quite normal. I'm okay with that. The glue job seems good there. Looking in between all of this, the glue here, tiny bit of difference here. Let me zoom in even more on this. Okay, so you can see right there how it gets big and skinny and all that. That's from the glue as it kind of soaks into the cardboard. On this side, though, notice it's actually quite crisp there, and that's because that's the bin point here. So now we're going to, oh, and look, actually, you can see quite a big difference there between the board and the back side of that. That's kind of interesting. So the only where I looked was it like that. Okay, inside again, nice and crisp. It's looking good. Okay, so there is no middle designation on here. So as far as I can tell, good luck. And in fact, it's actually kind of difficult because it looks like if this is the middle, right, where the lines meet, there's like two. Like the middle's right there then, right? So that's kind of interesting to see. So I guess the middle would be this one and 2 up, or would it be this one and 2 up, or I don't know. I don't know how to read that. That can be kind of difficult, especially with hexes versus squares. It can be very difficult to kind of determine what is the center one. Is it this one? Or is it this one? It looks like the center's, looks like it's probably more this one maybe, but I don't know. It can be kind of difficult, especially if there's not a noticeable, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then we have this, and this is fun. I like this one, just because there's more things to look at. It's not in deep space, right? It's right there with the planets, which is super cool. So yeah, I like that one. Looks cool. All right. And yeah, very sturdy, very thick. Looks great. All right, we're making progress through all this. Let's take a look at this. Oh, again, those lids are tight. And okay, so see, this is what I'm talking about. When it comes to the space, you see how much space is here? So it's very level with this. It looks like more cards would go this way, but they're not there yet. And so in between, there's a lot of space there. But I like the little grip here where you can grab the cards. Super nice. Looks like maybe a die would go there. Kind of interesting. And some more dual layer. Everything's dual layer. And look at that. That's kind of interesting to separate the cards. So it's a little nub. Be sure not to damage that. It's not dual layer. It just looks like it because it's got holes through it. Certainly it looks great. Like I love the art style again of this game. It looks wonderful. Everything looks neat there. All the cutouts look good there. There's even like little dimples there, which is kind of interesting. Interesting to see. And a lot of space underneath to hold different things as well. I'm assuming a lot of this is perhaps save states. I think that's what a lot of this is. Come on, go in. To help kind of save the game as you kind of progress through it. Just take a look at some cards. I'm not going to look at every single card. That sounds very boring to me. And I imagine it'd be boring to you. I do want to take a look at the cards to see how thick they are and stuff like that if they're different sizes. If there's some interesting art or anything like that that we need to take a look at, we can take a look at that, of course, too. But for the most part, I think all the cards are probably about the same. So definitely shiny. You can see kind of the reflection there, too. So it's not matte or anything like that. Again, contrast is really good. There's definitely a lot of wasted space here, so you could definitely put a lot more text on there, or make the text larger, I feel, on that. But other than that, I think it looks great. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take a look at these. We're going to zoom in. Alright, it's pretty good, it's pretty good. Now, it looks like each one has a set of miniatures. A person and a ship. So we're going to look at just one set of cards, and then just the minis, unless there's a big difference in the cards. Again, this is quite tight on there. Wow, okay. All right, and this is not attached. It looks like there was, it looks like there was maybe no, there was no glue on this. It just kind of fits in. Maybe it fits in really tight. Let's see. Maybe it does. Don't want to break it. I think it's just like that. All right, okay. All right, well, I already see something, but we'll look at this first. We'll take a look real quick at the cards. We'll see what we see. Come on. Always the hardest part, guys. All right. I believe the Dice Tower just did a review of this. So if you're interested in that, you should definitely take a look out for there. They, of course, say on the thumbnail, I think it was, Space Gloomhaven. That's what a lot of people are saying. I don't know if that's based off the game mechanics or the quality or what. Okay, so We got modifiers. That's all these are modifiers. Okay. And then on this side, we just have modifiers. Interesting, this says 4. I don't know what the 4 is. But definitely, one of the nice things about this is it's a little bit cheaper to make, right? It's a CUI. You have to hire some artist to like make some crazy art or whatever. Now, there is a whole bunch of what looks like there's probably tokens here, would be my assumption. So it looks like eventually you can keep quite a bit here. Then there's these cards. Obviously not enough room for sleeves. But then it looks like you could have a card here, and then it looks like maybe a longer thing here, perhaps. Like it looks like it supports quite a bit of stuff. And in fact, maybe you're supposed to take this off too. But I think that's it for the modifier. So let's go and take a look at the minis. Let's start with this guy. And kind of zoom in even more here. There you go. All right, so let's take a look here. One thing I would say is that overall, I think I like the design, the style of the mini, just visually how it looks. I think it looks very nice. It is PVC completely, and so there is a little bit of bend there, as you can see. And this happens a lot when you get an angle like this. For whatever reason, I'm no expert, but it tends to warp like right there. And I think it has to do with the releasing of the mold. I think that's perhaps it. I don't think it has to do with it cooling or anything like that per se. But it's nothing actually major there. It's not too bad at all. It's a single sculpt or a single cast, which means it's just straight there. So this is the cheapest kind of miniature you can make when it comes to that, because tooling, the actual grinding out of the steel molds is expensive. And so you can just kind of put that on there and then call it good. So that's really nice. There's a little bit of a mold line right here that then kind of goes up the staff, but it's very minimal. This is really the only place that's really noticeable. And I do like that the base is sculpted. That's certainly nice. It's nothing that's going to like wildly change the pose to be anything dynamic. He's just standing there still on there, but it is nice to visually see that. I'm sure painted it looks quite nice as well. The mold line is, of course, on both sides. It's a little bit more noticeable here, I feel, than on this side. And here you can see it, or you can't. Here you can see it right there, and then right there is where it would kind of shoot off and then go to like another mini or something like that. A little path there. So that's where I guess the gate was. But yeah, mold line there, and a little bit right there. That's probably the major bummer of this, just because I think it actually went into the plastic a little bit, but kind of hard to tell. It's actually almost coming off just on its own. Yeah, look at that. It's actually pretty easy to shoot. I'm going to clean this off alive for you guys. There you go. Look at that. You can clean up a bit more. See, the line is here too. It's solid down here, but it's not too thick. I'm actually okay with that. That's pretty all right. The one thing I would say I have an issue with is it looks like his cape goes through his boot, right? It's like, and I mean, it looks like it pretty much goes through his leg, if that makes sense. The separation here is really good. I think just right there, it probably goes a little too far into there. I'm not buying that his leg turns into, that skinny per se. I love the ripples here, though. Like, I really like how it looks cinched there. It's sculpted very pretty. And so I really do like that. I think that looks nice. The face, actually, I think it looks quite good. He's got a sort of an expression. It looks kind of sad, actually, a little bit, but he has lips and nose and little nostrils and cheekbones and, all that kind of stuff. The hair actually looks great. This might be the highlight of the mini, actually. With the headband, it's a nice separation there. It looks natural. It looks good. He even has ears. So all that's really good. I dig it. Yeah, looks cool. His fingers are all there. It's always good to see fingers. You don't always get that. And then it's in a very generic kind of spot here. I think I kind of mentioned that. I don't know. If there's really a right or wrong way to put it there. I think this is just a general well that they put them in. And so as you can see, I think that's really perhaps what bent it, was perhaps that. Take a look at the ship. Now, you'll see something wrong here, pretty much right off the bat. One of the issues here is PVC bends. It is soft, and so you can get some bend like that. That's quite a gnarly bend for such a thick piece, to be honest. I'm going to go and take it off this base again. The base, by the way, is just looks like ABS plastic. I would say it's a little shiny. It's got a little little notch on that side, perhaps a little bit of one there too. Has these little symbols there, and a little thing there you can probably put a token in. And then this is not clear, it's just black as well. So on the map though, normally I'd say clear is bad, but on the map it actually kind of blends in a little bit. This has a little bit of a blue tint to it, but that's alright. Put this in like hot water, not boiling. It doesn't need to be boiling. It won't hurt it if it's boiling, but it just needs to be steaming, right? You put it in there, you get like a bowl of like ice water, and then you kind of fix it. When you get it hot, it gets a little bendy. So you like hold it like this, and then you dunk that in the ice. That'll help it. You'll probably have to do that a few times, but if you get something like that, that'll totally fix it. So it's nothing typically too permanent. Though when it gets to the stick, sometimes I don't have the patience to keep doing it over and over again. It just doesn't want to. It's the problem with bent bases too. So that's kind of unfortunate that there's that much of a bend. Design-wise, I like it. I think it looks great. It kind of looks like a little A-wing kind of thing. I really like the shape of it. I like the cockpit here that's like in the middle, kind of flanked on either side here. That's really cool. I like the little, useless but cool looking kind of like, fins coming out this way. The various like random pipes and junk that don't make sense but look cool. I dig all of that actually. And they did texture the bottom. It's not a whole bunch, but there's actually texture here, which is kind of cool, even on the bottom here. And then a little bit here, it gets a little soft in the detail here, like especially right here. There's like I can't even tell what, it just looks smooth. On this side, it's a little bit better. Actually, it's a lot better on the front than on the bottom. This is a little bit washed out, a little bit muddy, but again, you're looking at the bottom of it at that point. So overall, I think it looks quite nice. I'm okay with that. Yeah, looks good. Minus that. Okay, let's go ahead. Just look at some minis now of some other ones. Oh, man, you gotta really like those. Look at this one, since it's on the top. Excuse me while I open it. Alright, and let's look at the person first. Okay, again, single cast, right? Essentially, it's the sandwich here, right? You think of it like an ice cube tray with a lid on it, right? Like a popsicle tray kind of thing. And then that's just in the middle there. So you have like the negative, and you fill it with super hot plastic and let it cool down, and then you got a mini. Big head, I would say. It looks a little stylized there compared to the size of the neck. I'm not sure you're supposed to be able to even see the neck, but maybe they didn't push it in all the way because it looks really skinny. I think that's supposed to be perhaps pushed in a little bit more. Again, the sculpted base looks like the exact same base. Is it the exact same base? Yes. Okay, so they're all on the same base, which means it'll be consistent, I suppose. So it would have been cool to have them all a little bit different, perhaps, but that's all right. They all have thick soles, by the way, on their shoes, so they're very prepared there. She has like a book, which is kind of neat. She's kind of holding looks like a normal old style book, which is, I think, kind of cool. The armor is interesting. It has like she has like two belts here in the middle, which is definitely stylized. Very Final Fantasy. She's like Lulu. I'm gonna call her Lulu now. She doesn't have that many belts actually, but then like a lot of straps and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. A very cool gun, and the fingers here I think look great. Like I think they look really, really good. I like those fingers a lot. I think that looks awesome. Let me actually dim this a slight bit for you, perhaps. Okay, never mind. So it's gonna be bright. We'll edit that in post scaling. I like the kneecaps. I like the design there, and again the little details, like the little clasp on the bottom of this, I think actually look quite good. So that's good. The gun looks separate from the arm, so they did a good job getting those really sharp angles there, like right here. Right, that looks really good. So I like that. Again, like more straps, just like all over. The face, again, I think is a little bit enlarged compared to the, like this is true scale, right? Which means that the hands aren't like over large. In fact, they look a little tiny to me even. But then the head actually looks kind of big. And it might be slightly because of the hair, but I don't think so. I think it just looks big, but perhaps not. Anyway, the hair, again, is actually a highlight for me. They just do a really good job. A really fine detail here. And you can clearly see the little kind of clasps in her like really thick ponytail that she's got there, which is really cool. I like that. Like that one looks really cool. Then she's got, oh, I like this ship a lot. I love these ships. Yeah, so none of them are glued in. I think they just kind of fit in, and I think they're almost supposed to be out, so that they're a little easier to store, if that makes sense.
I don't know exactly how easy it is to get it in there, though. My goodness. I gotta really want it, I feel. All right, there we go. Okay, so there's the ship. I like this one. I'm gonna take it out now. After all that. Look at the bottom here. Again, they actually did some detail here, some detail work. There's a gnarly mold line right here. It is on the bottom. We'll see how it looks like on the top. Looks like it's pretty gnarly everywhere. And this almost, again, I don't think this does anything. It almost looks like a beard, like on a dragon or something. You know, you get those little things on the chin. That's what it almost looks like to me, especially because this looks like a little bit of a neck almost, right? So this is a very interesting one. I don't know if this is the cockpit or what. Now, I will say, all of this looks good. And at the very end, look at this. It gets like super melty. That's really unfortunate. I think there's supposed to be some definition there. But if so, it didn't make it. It's not there anymore, which is kind of a bummer because I feel that's the focal point you're trying to, like, you start here and everything kind of almost points to that. Which is really unfortunate. Yeah, it gets really muddy, like soft details. There's nothing hard and angular there. Like, I might have to do some sculpting on that. I'll have to look at the render to see what it should have looked like, because I doubt it's that. In fact, this whole mold, I don't think was quite as well done. I think the mold line here is quite noticeable. You can, see, like, it's really well, done that they hit it here, but then you can very clearly see it there, and then it kind of follows out, which again is good hiding it, for the most part, design-wise, but not actual implementation-wise. You can see like this kind of line here that goes across, and a line here that goes across. It just looks messy. This line here, and you can see the line there. Just really unfortunate. Look at this one. This one then comes and then angles over this way, and then up this way, and then up here. And then because it's so close, anytime there's a mold line, you tend to get, there's a little bit of bent here as well. Anytime you get mold lines right around there, oftentimes the detail does get a little bit fuzzier, just based off of the ability to kind of sculpt there and what's going on there. And you can see that the lines just aren't quite as sharp here. It just looks a little funky. Like look at this. See how it like bends in and then goes? So it bends in and then goes. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe they're supposed to be angled more. I'm not actually quite sure. And then on the back, again, I feel these are a little bit softer in detail, compared to some of the other hard lines we were getting on that other ship. Like, I mean, just look how soft that looks, right? Like, it just looks a little, like, half melted. You put the butter in, but you didn't put it in long enough. So it's just kind of like a little gooey. Kind of unfortunate, because that's, I think, a very cool design. I really like this one. I love that look right there. That is like, yeah, that's awesome. I dig that otherwise, but very bummed that one's so multi compared to even the character. I think the character turned out better. I think this is a bad mold. I don't know who manufactured this, but I'd watch them a little bit closer next time, because I'm sure you didn't hand him the file that way. It's just how it ended up. Skinny. I like this one. So again, same base. So I'm not going to comment too much on that. Taller, obviously, than the other characters. Like their head is like right there, right? It's like super close. I really dig this. I do. I like how different it is. They did have to fill the inside of the toes, which is a little awkward. Like when you go to paint that, like what do you paint it as? I don't even know. So that's unfortunate, but understandable. The tail's cool. It's got a fairly nice sculpt on it that has some good detail, even towards the tip, actually, which a lot of times it gets a little smooth at the tip. Woohoo! So that's good. I'm glad that turned out well. The gun's cool. Looks like a little bit like a needler or something like that, if there was little spikes there, perhaps. Love the face. Again, the hair is actually pretty cool. I dig that. And it is actually a multi-part, because... So you can have that, but then there's all this negative space here, and that doesn't work. Like, if you were to put that there and there was steel mold here, you couldn't take it out, right? You would literally break the mini or the mold, one or the other. So you have to have this separate. So then it's a flat thing that you can just take out. Yeah, you can't have metal there. That doesn't work that way. You can't. It doesn't work. So there is a separate piece right here. So it's nice that they were willing to do that. Alternatively, they would have had to wrap the tail, make it touch the leg and come out there. That's what a lot of companies will do to keep that single cast, but they decided to pay for the tail as well, which I'm glad they did, and I think it's better for it, for sure. A very visually interesting mini, I would say. I actually like that one a lot. Let's see how different the ship is. That doesn't look noticeably different. It's a lot skinnier, and actually fairly long. So first glance, I think this already looks better than the last one. I think these lines look a lot crisper, a lot sharper. Really nice there. These look straight. They don't look like they're kind of bent and cockeyed everywhere. I love the extra fins here. I love how it's like all triangles, triangle, triangle, triangles, triangle. Like it's all this kind of angled triangle stuff here. These little deep divots here. I really like that. That's super cool. I'm assuming this would be the cockpit right here. In which case, this seems like it's a much bigger ship, or they just have a very small window. On the bottom, again, lots of detail, even on the bottom, which they didn't have to do per se. So it's really nice that they did. On the back, the little thrusters here. I mean, yeah, this is clearly a better sculpt. All these lines are much crisper, much more defined, and enjoyable. I like the fact that they even included like hinges here, right? So these can obviously move. Right, probably up or down or something like that, right? So it's on this thing and it can turn that way or turn that way. Just little things like that, I think, make it a little bit more believable. When you see stuff like that, it looks nice. It looks less like a statue, more like a model ship. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, last one, and then we'll look at the core box minis, and we'll be done with the core box. All right. Oh, now look at this. Now this is interesting to me. Every single other character here has just been standing there, which, that's fine. Nothing wrong with standing there. And then there's this dude who has like a melee weapon and is like going to run at the people shooting at them. Hopefully that shield that's really tiny, like a little buckler or something, works out well with those bullets, because he's got to get in close to hit that, or she, or whatever this thing is. I think it's a lady. Maybe it's a lady. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, very cool design. Look at this. Back farther this way, leaning forward, center of gravity right in the middle. That's great. Looks good. Doesn't like tip over, super easy. It writes itself, I think, quite nice, which looks good. The contact point, this is actually contacted. They didn't necessarily have to do that. I'm glad they did, or you could have like squeezed them a little bit, and it looks great. Like a lot of times you'll get a little melted look where it looks like the foot's like phasing into there, but it ended up actually being really, really great there. Let's see. The hands again, I feel are actually a little tiny. I think they're perhaps a little too skinny here. Just how big of an arm this is. I know there's armor and stuff with that too, but this is like a little tiny hand, attached to this big ol' honking arm. Love the design though. This is really cool. The face, the visor looks awesome. Very organic looking armor, which is kind of cool. I really dig that. Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, it looks good. Some mold line across here, but not too bad. I like this one. It looks so much different compared to the rest design wise. Let's see how the ship is. Is it different? It's bent just like the others. So again, we got a little bit of a bend there. Get some hot water, get some cold water. Go to town on it. Definitely a different design. Look how flat it is, right? All the others have these fins going up. This one has no fins going up. It's very sleek. This is like the A-wing, I would feel, where it's like, it's meant for speed. And, like, it's funny how we apply, like air physics in our heads, even to spaceships. Like, oh, well, the Air Force it'll slice through the air. It's like, well, there's no air in space, but whatever. That's besides the point. Maybe it's an atmosphere thing. You don't know. Don't judge. Whoop. Okay. Slightly soft details here, but not too bad. Nothing terrible. Again, I do like the fact that it's all designed at the bottom here, and the shape of this looks really slick. I like the sharp angles there. There's where the runner was, right there. You can kind of see that. Trim that up a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of a soft details here. Nothing hugely major distracting or anything. Not as bad as that other one. That second one I unboxed was certainly the worst. This one's passable. But not the crispest they have either, I feel. It's interesting to see the variety. There are some manufacturers, and I've talked about this before, that are really consistent, and there are some that just vary wildly. Like E-Star, I would say, is one that varies really, really a lot, where they can have some that are like really crisp, and then they can just like botch others. That being said, I'm giving, I think, too much credit to the manufacturer in that case. A lot of it is just how much attention the creator is showing to it. Okay, so let's see. We got, oh gosh, stop falling. There's like a few too many of these, so they just like fall out. They're just like sliding around in there. So let's put those over there so I can tip my box. Let's see what I want to look at. I guess we'll just go... Oh, let's look at some of the, like, interesting alien guys. Let's look at them. Let's look at this guy. He's fun. Look at this. There we go. Okay. Let's look at this guy. My cat snuck in here. I actually don't let him in here anymore. I know you guys used to love seeing him, but his hair just gets everywhere. It's ridiculous. You can brush him for 3 hours and you still get hair. I don't even know what to do with him. Anyway, but God does he love sitting inside the box with components or on the table or whatever, and makes my unboxings very hairy. Same base, same size too. So he's like way larger than the base here. Love the like little visor looking thing too. Love the like the rock stuff. It definitely changes the theme of it a little bit. And you can kind of see the art there of kind of what this stuff kind of looks like. That we'll maybe look at that person next. Big old club here, which I dig. The back side of it is very smooth, but still textured. I think it actually looks cool. I like that. It definitely isn't this texture, but I think in this case it's appropriate. You can kind of see it smooth out in between as well. So that makes these look a little bit more like fins, if that makes sense. A little bit of a mold line, very little, and it's barely noticeable in all this texture anyway. Yeah, a solid guy. I like it. I love the gap here. I love that it's not like per se connected. It just fits really tight, especially like right here. That's really good to see. Obviously, this would have had to be multi-part. There's a lot of negative space here, but it was built really, really well. You can see it's right here and right here, and there's almost no gap. There's a little bit of gap here because of the glue made the gap, though. It's a very tight fit, very obvious fit where you're not gonna like notice it at all. Really, it looks great. Very well done. I like that one. Take a look at that little guy. Get all the hair off. All right, here he is. I didn't, but this is not the same guy. This is a different guy. Because this guy has like these droopy ear things. I like him. Look, he's like smirking. Look at that. That's great. He's like literally like smirking, which is just hilarious. I think that's really funny. Turn down the light a little bit there. There you go. I think that's awesome. I love the personality there that he's got. The gun's super cool. I like that his arms almost seem like lower, if that makes sense. Like it looks like his arms would reach down to like almost his ankles, which is a very neat design, very alien. I appreciate that. I like his feet too. That looks good. The detail looks solid. I like that. I really like the little bit of creases here. And again, the separation that slightly curves in like that just makes those ears look a lot separate. Very well done. I like him. He's cool. And look at that, a little bit of a gap there too. So they didn't just like build as one solid thing. It makes it look just, it sells the look a lot more, I feel. All right. This one. All right. This guy's cool. Again, he's got the ears as well. Or she, I think perhaps. Again, I like the feet. However, the feet are kind of weird here. It looks like one is mechanical. Look at that. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, see, take a look at that. So this one has like all these toes and is all armored up. This one, it gets different right here, right? And then from here on, it's like this mechanical thing. So you can see like all the wires and stuff like that. That's a neat little thing. I dig that. Or it's a really bad mold, but I don't think that's the case. I think that's on purpose. Very cool. It's got like this kind of melee weapon here, which is interesting. It is connected, but not. I mean, I think it looks pretty clean. I'm okay with that. And then, of course, the blade. The thickness of the blade is not that bad. So there you can see the thickness of it, right? It's not like a huge banana blade or anything like that. There is a mold line going all the way across, and that mold line is a little noticeable, slightly distracting. Almost looks like there's a little bit of a shift in the mold slightly. It's not quite aligned perfect. The spacesuit has all these really nice lines on them. I think it looks great. And again, I think the face looks really cool. Really do that. Oh, I like this too. I don't know what this is, part of the suit, but it looks really great. I like that. Very cool. All right. A tall, skinny person. Here we go. Still got hair. My goodness. Dumb cat. All right. Yeah, again, we got a lot of this kind of techno stuff going on here. Very tiny hands. But as an alien, I will excuse it. Got the nice gap in between the arms. It looks good. I love the pose, holding your hands like that. Very much a very cordial thing. Love the ears. Face looks cool. Not a whole lot to say about this, except that I like the variety. Like there's some pipes here, which, you hear that? Oh yeah. But that's not everywhere, and it looks different in each spot. I don't really see anything that looks too smooth or anything like that. Actually, it looks quite well. Quite good. All right. I think now we just got some ships. Take a look at some ships. Look at the biggest and most boring one. Oh no, come back. Hello. There we go. Okay. So yeah, this one, super cool. I actually really dig the design of it. I like these two little side bits here. That's neat. I dig that. It definitely changes the kind of the feel of the ship. Then you have the two here. This one looks a little bent. See how this one is straight and now this one is a little curved. So that one is curved off a little bit and a little bit rougher in the detail. Do you see how crisp of a line this is here? And then how it gets a little fuzzy here, right? So this whole one here, I think, came out a little bit worse for wear compared to this one. Detail-wise here, I think it looks great. I actually like all of that. It looks, I mean, it's perfectly serviceable. It's all just PVC, so it's not like it's the best thing ever per se. It is a little shiny though, and so I don't know if there's a little bit of ABS in there or not. Typically, ABS or PVC is quite matte. And you'll see how this is shiny and this isn't. Do you notice that? And that's what I think it is. I think they're actually potentially mixing plastics here because these were printed separately. So I'm wondering if they made this because of the little details that it has here. A tiny bit of ABS in there. You can do different plastic mixes. And then these don't really have any fine details. And so they're just pure PVC. And that's why you do get a little bit of the kind of non-hard lines here, a little bit of the fuzziness that you're missing when you're like looking at the little fine lines here and stuff like that. Definitely costs more the fancier your plastic gets, and some of these I think were made a little bit cheaper than others. A little bit of a softness here, but not too bad. And yeah, over there that looks fine too. A little bit of a plainer bottom, but that's okay. It's a funny sentence anyway. Overall, cool ship, definitely big, that's for sure. My goodness. All right, next up. We got this thing, which is super. Oh, look, it goes up like that. I'll show you exactly how that looks like. Okay. Not sure this is, I think this is because it's taller. That's because it goes in like so. And that's how that one goes in, which is really cool. I think that might be too long a one. Yeah, looks like you use your normal base. This is for the big one, but I'm going to use it anyway. Either way, you can kind of see how it like slots up, which again, I love the different look of this. I really appreciate that different races and stuff like that would use different styles. This looks like a tire, right? It almost looks like it's got like tread here. These details are a little soft for my taste. It'd be really nice to see that look a little bit crisper. Definitely a lot softer there. Same here. In fact, a lot of this is softer than I would have appreciated. Would have liked a little bit crisper, for sure. Looks even slightly bent, but you know, maybe I'm just looking at it wrong. Love the little fins. Love the big jet here. Sculpt design-wise, I really like this. It's got some interesting things too. It's got like again these rounder parts here, but I mean, look how messy this is. It's just muddy and rough and not like this looks good. Right? Like this looks good. But then you get stuff like this right next to it, which is like the opposite of good. Like I think there's supposed to be a panel here, and then here, and then here. But it's so soft and so muddy. It's really hard to notice that. Also, the inside of this, well, this has a cool texture on the outside. The inside is smooth with a mold line, which is a little unfortunate. I would have liked to have seen that maybe look a little bit cleaner if we could have helped it. Oh yeah, look at that. That is totally warped. Again, this PVC is just warping everywhere, guys. I swear. You see how it like comes this way and then moves over? It's like this point right here, which you can see the little connection point there, right? Is like not even straight. Like that needs to be bent. So, yep, more hot water for me. Yay, I love work. Look at this guy! Look at this guy, he's so cool. It's like a living little ship thing. I love this. Look at this. It's got like little tentacle spots going on here. And then it's got these really cool designs in the bottom and the cool shapes here. And then the whole jet thing has like these like little points around it. I love this. This is super cool. It's like a little squid. I like that one. Oh, look at this one. It's like a little rocky one. Oh, see, I love the alien ones way more. I really do. Look at all the spikes on this one. Oh, it's super. It's like a little crab looking kind of thing here. It almost looks like it has like a face and a mouth and stuff. I like this one. There's not even an obvious like propulsion thing, right? Like where the jet's coming out of or anything like that. I love the fine little details we have here. You can kind of hear that and you can feel it too. And I think that adds a lot to it. We do have these, again, these little kind of disc things here. That's kind of interesting. And maybe, that's definitely the bottom. So it goes like this. Either way, I really did that. It looks cool. I like that one. Let's see what else we got. We got this little guy. Definitely looks like a more advanced ship, technology-wise, which I dig. These are looking straight. Maybe slightly bent here, but not too bad. Definitely, I think, passes the test compared to some of the other stuff there. I think that looks good. A little bit soft detail around that mold line. That's pretty obvious, but see how much crisper these lines are? This looks so much better than some of the stuff I'm seeing. I'm seeing a wide variety of stuff there. Did E-Star make this? No, I'm curious. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. They rarely say, E-Star would have advertised it. Either way, I feel like E-Star actually does better work than this now. These days, they've come a long way. This looks good. Overall, I think it looks good. I love the design. Love the spaces here, by the way. Super cool. Really dig that. Adds a lot of character to it. It's like little disc visor things in it. I love that this is angled down too. That looks cool as well. It's like this little kind of pod thing. And these are neat too. I like those. I feel like those would be moving around to, adjust and fly. All right, we got two more. We got this one, which is, that's interesting, huh? This one come on now. This one's cool. This one has like a little warp thing up here, and like these things are holding it. One of the bummers of that, though, so look at this. They filled it in, right in between here. I would have preferred them to sculpt a third pipe, as opposed to fill it in like that. And then on the inside, there's just like, maybe it's supposed to. I think they try to like wing it, right, to where they have like a little piece here in the inside. That's what you're seeing there. I don't know. It looks a little weird, and to me anyway. And this is slightly off, but just a little bit. Overall, though, it's just this little kind of torpedo thing with this little thing coming out, which is, I think, quite neat. I dig that. These lines, this looks some of the crispest I've seen actually in this game. This looks solid, like really solid. On the top here, that looks nice. Really dig that. All right, final mini here. In the core box. Super cool. I like this one. Multi-piece. You can kind of see the assembly here. Assembly's okay. I'm okay with this. It's almost never like perfect. That's actually pretty good. And it's on the bottom as well. A little bit of softer details, right, compared to what we just looked at, but overall passable, definitely okay. And I like the juxtaposition here between the two. We got some like solid technology lines, like metal and stuff like that, and then we have this like rock stuff coming out in the middle there. It looks like a little fish fins and stuff like that, which super duper cool. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the expansion. All right, guys, we got the Ships of Akarios Miniatures Expansion. Everybody's favorite. Look at that. You get minis for all those standees. Those ugly standees. And it's actually not a big box, too, which I kind of actually appreciate. It doesn't go crazy with, like, the get 32 zombie minis of, questionably different poses. It's none of that kind of stuff. It's like, no, you're just getting a decent amount of minis, but nothing, like, super dumb crazy. Or it takes forever to set up and store and all that. I'd rather have a game that's more streamlined using less than a game that's ridiculous using a ton. Hopefully that makes sense. But I do love minis, so let's take a look. First of all, love the art. It's beautiful. I love the kind of the purple hue to space and then these bright lights you get from different things. It looks really nice, and everything's always an action shot. I really dig that. Looks good. All right, again, got the silica packet. Thank you for doing that. Even though there's hardly any cardboard in here, it keeps the inside of the cardboard mold free, which I appreciate. Okay, so these do have a little bit of a lip here. So you see this like lip here, and that doesn't look like it's too bad, but it can mark up the cardboard a little bit when you're pulling stuff out. These are loose enough in the box to where I'm not too concerned about that, but that is technically a possibility. when you see that. So I tend to like them just to go straight down, but that's that. No marking on the top and no lock lid like the other one. So the first one was a game trace, and I don't think this is game trace. I think that's the difference here. Being said, so plenty strong, non-creakly or anything like that. There's a little bit of like dust still everywhere. It's kind of interesting to see all the dust. I don't know what's up with that, but whatever. All right, let's take a look. Woohoo! And our first one. Okay. These are the ones I kind of showed you with the numbers, right? So these are these little kind of cheapo guys here. So not a whole lot of detail, right? Like these fins, there's no lines or marks or anything like that. It's just a solid piece. And then these are really soft in detail. Like very kind of like no hard lines there really at all. This came out really well, but then there's two little vent line things here. But I mean, it's kind of a mess. If I want to be honest, definitely not the best mini I've ever seen. Let's see if that continues, though. All right, so here is a fun design one. Again, the spinny thing, I love that. Notice on this one, the inside is sculpted. Hopefully, you can kind of see that. So the inside there is totally sculpted, and I really appreciate that versus the flatness of the other one. I like that a lot. Inside here, you can see the little stand where you're going to stand. I'm assuming this came with stands, I would think. Anyway, the design here is definitely still there. A little bit of a plainer design, and interesting enough, the bottom, I think, has a really crisp design. The top, though, a little kind of soft. I'm not going to lie. Like this could be a lot crispier. And again, it's just this really kind of cheaper plastic that they're using. That's, I think, really doing that. Now, here's something a bit more advanced here. I dig the asymmetry in this. Look at this. So this has fins here, but not here. That's kind of cool. I dig that. But look how much, like, hopefully you can tell the difference here. This is the same manufacturer, same company, and now I get that they're different design things, but let's take a look here, right? Where you're trying to show lines, right? You're trying to show lines here, and you're trying to show lines here. Do you see how much crisper this stuff is than this? Like, that's what's kind of bothering me, is just the inconsistency between it. Not that I would like it all bad, I would like it all this quality, because I think this looks like really well done. I have almost zero complaints on this. Yeah, this looks quite good. Woohoo! See a little bit of a mold line here, nothing major. Still looks good. Again, all these lines are crisp. This is one of their better ones, I would say. I actually really like those. I wish they all looked like that. Oh, look at this guy. Now this one's fun. Look at this little detail they got here, and they got a little Smooth McGee over there. This is really cool. Look at this. Wow, that's the bottom of it. So it's like this. Love the design of this. It does not look like a spaceship you would think of. It's got like all these like pipes and living parts, and these almost look like little like tendrils or tentacles. Again, they're very sea inspired. I like those a lot. Those are super cool. And we got this guy here. Love the shield here. I think this was called a Scout. I really like this one. I think it would look really cool painted too. Yeah, this one's nice too. I dig it. This one looks good. Very cool design. I love that it's heavier on the bottom, right? Heavier, like thicker. There's more to it. This just makes it seem neat that it's kind of up here, and then this, and it like curves back even too. Very neat. Very cool. I like those. And then we have the big one here. It's like a freaking whale. Look at that. That is so awesome. I love this. That is that looks so cool. And I think the texture on this and the detail level on this is a lot better. Not exactly perfect. It looks a little soft here. But overall, very actually happy with this one at all. Now even the mold line I think is pretty slick, pretty good. Nice. I dig this guy. He's super neat. Is that a face? It looks like a face there. Could be a face. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do, is kind of guess. Like, is it a face? I don't know. What do you think? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Alright. So that's that. Now the final bit of this game is right here. The big boys. let's take a look. Okay, where to start? Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, we got tons of these. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. There they are. Let's look at these little guys. This almost looks like a gun, right? You hold like this. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I love the negative space they have on a lot of these. Definitely gives a kind of a crustacean thing. And actually, look at that. My fingers are what is on this? I want a different one. Oh, the gunpowder. Look at this one's got some stuff too. Look at this is dangerous stuff, guys. Wash your minis, man. I swear. Wash your minis. Sounds a little dirty, but whatever. Yeah, no, this is cool. I really dig this. That was actually I was looking at it like this, but it's actually like this. Love the little scoop here. I'm assuming it goes like this. I'm assuming this is the front and this is the back, and it's like wah 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 kind of thing. Like I feel like it would have a Star Wars sound to it, but I dig those, even if they make my hands dirty. Let's look at these. What the heck is going on here? This is like, oh my gosh, this is dirty too. What the heck? What's your factory doing? Come on now. Anyway, I like how he almost like stands there. Just, let's see. I mean, so this is very soft details, just like the last one. Maybe that's on purpose. I think it might be. I don't know. Because I like these balls, right, are actually quite crisp, but then this triangle is very soft. But I think that's on purpose, because then it has like this little thing here. The problem is that purposefulness, I think, I don't know, maybe not, because then these are a little soft and that one's a little soft, and I'm not sure. Just not impressed with how those look. I love the design though. I don't even know how does this work? How do you fit in there? There you go. Ooh, oh gosh, what to show off next? Let's show off these guys. This is fun. So this is like a bigger version of that guy. Again, this is the bottom here. And you can see multi-part, but I think it went really well. Just slot that right in, these little guys here. Otherwise, it's one solid piece. The back of this is not good. It just looks, I don't know, there's like a weird texture to it. Like they didn't smooth this mold out very well, I feel. So it'll look a little muddy. Definitely not a crisp ship lines, if that makes sense. Sometimes when you do like organic stuff, like if this was a tree, right? Let's say they sculpted a tree, you wouldn't even really comment on it. It just looks like more texture. But when you're supposed to have stuff like metal that's really sharp edged, that's where PVC struggles a little bit more, just because it's really hard to get super crisp lines, and you want those super angular lines when you're dealing with technology, metal stuff and whatnot. So anyway, otherwise I think this looks really, really cool. There's a gnarly runner. That's one of the biggest I have ever seen in my life, actually. I think that takes the case. That is a big little runner, right? So the plastic can go out here, but oh dear Lord, that is huge. That is big. My goodness gracious. There we go. Get that out of here. Look at this thing. I can't even pick it up. Like that is, anyway, that's big. Jeez. All right, let's take a look at these guys. I love the hexagon stuff. I really do. The back side of this is super neat too, and it's something you don't really see in the art that I saw, but I really dig that. So it goes up this way. Woohoo! Goes up this way. Really dig that. So you can see this is a solid piece here, and then this is like the field on top of it. So again, not quite the cleanest when it comes to that. Like you can see little divots, and you can see the little line here and stuff like that. You see the dirty jank of whatever the heck that is on there. So definitely not the crispiest of hexagons here, for sure. Like I said, there's just a lot of manufacturing parts there. I like this a lot. I like how it gets skinny and then gets bigger. Definitely kind of interesting to see that. Take a look at the big old ship here. Oh, okay. Whew. So they were pointing. So another one was like right here. I thought it was all one big ship. I was like, oh my gosh, that's huge. That being said, you want some thrusters. This little guy can go. So this is another interesting thing, and this is not the first time we've seen this, where straight, right, and then this one, notice it's angled in a little bit, so it's not symmetrical. This should be more straight instead of pointing in that way. It's kind of interesting to see. And in fact, I don't even think their level, like I think this is angled forward a little bit. Do you see how that's angling this way? Whereas this one I think is straight down. This one is actually angled like that slightly. So hopefully you can kind of see that and get a sense of that. Just all these little issues here. Again, I don't know who the manufacturer is, but I would spend my money elsewhere. Just saying, though I'm sure it was cheaper, and that's always nice. Hopefully those savings went to the customer. The grill here, I like that. That looks nice. Love the design. I really like the design. It looks like a like a carrier that would carry like product or whatever, and just needs to go a really far distance. So I dig that. This guy's cool. Look at this. I love the designs of these. Whoever was designing these, I think is super cool. Whoever was like spraying this was weird crap though. But yeah, thanks a lot for that. I really appreciate that. That's awesome to get all over my hands. What the heck? I don't know what that's about. Man, some people complain about release agents. I have like black flecks like all over my minis. I don't know what's going on there. Love the separation here. That looks nice. Once again, I think the front suffers a little bit. Like there's no distinction between this ridge here, right, and then the flap. It's just like one smooth piece here, and it's kind of interesting. A lot of detail on the bottom, like a lot of detail down here. I love these like little pipes. Those are cool. I dig that. Even though they kind of disappear right there, that's fine. These little disc things are cool. Love the design. Really good. I think that's super neat. All right, I think we got two more here. We got this big boy again with the black junk on this. Anyway, love that. Why is it so dirty? Oh, they dropped this in the dirt. Separate piece here, but I think it looks really good. I think they did a good job with it. The dome on the top. Again, not the finest of details. It's a little soft. These little triangles are a little smooth. These rectangles are a little smooth. But overall, I think it's quite good. It's not too shallow or anything, which is nice. Down below here, I think it's solid enough. Maybe a little muddy, right? A little soft lines here. But I think on this side, actually, with these added details, it looks quite good. And it's a very cool design, of course. I love these. These look like organic bits to it kind of thing, which I really dig. Alright, and then the other thing we have, I think it goes in like that, is this guy, who looks really cool in my opinion. I dig this a lot. And I know my son will too. It's just a solid like piece here, and then this little thing fans out, and this almost looks like a mouth with teeth. Does it not? Like there's the eyes, right? A little horn, and then the mouth. These are like fins. You know, like it just looks super cool. The assembly I think looks good. These little things here are cool. It would have been nice if they were hanging down instead of scrunched up like that. But that's fine too. Still really cool. And then yeah, there's like this weird texture in the back there. I don't even know what that's all about. Got all these little pipes that looks cool. All these little umbrella symbol things look neat. The inside of this is textured. I appreciate that. That's super nice to see. And again, it just looks super neat. I do dig that. That's super cool. Alright, that is Stars of Akarios. And I must say, fairly impressed. There's a lot of cool stuff there. For sure. So, if you have any questions, of course, let me know. I'll be sure to answer them. But otherwise, that's it. I'll be signing off now. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Take care, guys. Bye.